Good morning. Oh, good. It hasn't captured my game yet. Hold on. There we go. And where's my captions? Captions? Oh, wait. Hold on. I'm smart. Almost like I haven't streamed in like a week. Good morning, Dragon Sage. Good morning, Viv. Nice to see ya. How you doing? Mort is in his little cave. Chilling because he's had, you know, a very challenging day of being in his cave. Okay. I gotta move my window a little bit. That doesn't destroy it for you, does it? No. Because I want to be able to see chat. There. That should be okay. Trying to catch thee floating dirty. Well, let's see how we float today. And let me know if it's too loud, of course. I don't think it is, but I can't see the audio in OBS at the same time. Okay, so here's the deal. We are currently... I don't have like a map. Well, I mean, I do. It's in here. Where is it? Well, sure. Let's look. This is the world map. Okay. I live originally in this place at the very top called Astron. That's where I come from, because that was the place that I chose to start. Good chunk. Yeah. I don't know what that was. So I started up here because it had the boat that I was the most interested in. It was the most complicated boat, and it was a brig, which is how I learned to sail. So I started up here. We are now down here in the Emerald Archipelago specifically we are at Dragon Cliffs, which is the capital. I think our goal, instead of sailing around all these little islands doing little, you know, merchant stuff, I think we should head all the way across the sea to Ankh to go to Gold Rock City. Gold Rock City is their capital. You can make a lot of money there. And so we're going to stock up in Gold Rock. We might stop at Oasis on our way north, and then we're going to go back to Astron, which is a gargantuan trip, as I'm sure you can see. That's a lot of ocean, because in Astron is the one guy in the world who sells the best spyglass, because I definitely did not drop mine off of the boat. Where's this map? What is this map? Excuse me. Thank you. I didn't drop mine off of the boat during a storm. So I don't have very much money, which is kind of a problem. And have I delivered everything? Yes, I have. Okay, so let's just take some inventory here. I've got trout, salmon, something back here, goat cheese, pork, fish, cheese. I think we're okay on food. And water. That one's full, that one's full, that one's full, that one's full. I got some candles. Okay. I'm thinking, because we got a... Oh. You have a singular orange in you. I don't need you. Oranges are really important. We can get scurvy. So I'm gonna go ahead and buy some more oranges. Oh god, I hope they have oranges here. Hey, buddy. No, I don't need you to do this. I gotta find somebody to sell this to, first of all. Ah, but it's nighttime. The stores will be closed. Just kidding. Let's go to sleep. So, Casa, nice to see ya. How you doing? Thanks for the lizard treats. I don't really want to spend money on staying at an inn, so I'm just gonna sleep on my boat. It's safe in port, so you sleep a little bit faster than you do out in the middle of the ocean. Unfortunately, it would appear that I am completely rested and it's still pitch black outside. So, how you doing, everybody? We're just gonna kind of lay here. You have any granola and or nut bars? Oh, I am going back to sleep. That's nice. I'm thirsty. It's okay, I won't starve to death. Or rather, thirst to death, I suppose. I'm back to work after a trip to see Critical Role live show. That's exciting. How did that go? I have yet to actually watch very much Critical Role stuff. Everything I've ever heard about them is, like, phenomenal. And a lot of people treat it like just, like, seasons of a TV show, right? Like, Can it be daytime, please? It's so dark. I can see nothing. A lot of people treat it, yeah, like a TV show, and I've seen a little bit. But I've always only ever seen the middle of whatever they're doing. So I haven't ever started from the beginning. Play the Song of Time. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, it's daytime. Wonderful. Somebody buy my empty box for like $2, please. $44. Look at you, man. Pleasure doing business. You way overpaid me for an empty box. Look at my beautiful ship. The square-rigged brig. My baby. Alright, now let's take inventory here. This firewood is empty. Or at least it looks empty. These ones all seem fine. This is just a random box. Okay, then you get out here also. I gotta make sure that everything is set before we head out. These are intended to be empty. That's fine. My Breb's on the floor. Come here, Breb. Okay, that piece is just I can't get it. That's our reserve piece for if I'm truly starving to death. Oh, and I just have a random sweet potato on the table. Okay, cool. I have to quit out and come back in so that the box interactions work. It is still in beta, so. And it's made by one person, so you can't blame them for things like that every now and then. Give it un momento. Did you not unlock crouching? So here's the funny story about that. It's not responding. Give it a second. You're not supposed to play this on a controller, okay? I'm gonna kill the game and start it again. Close the program, please. How many guns do you have? So you're not supposed to play this on controller. There we go. Let's try that again. I remapped all of the buttons using a custom Steam, you know how you can like set keybinds in Steam instead of in the game? And it doesn't 100% like crossover, you know? So crouch was one of the things I had to sacrifice. I might be able to crouch, but I don't think so. Sailwind, can we start, buddy? I've doomed us by closing the game. Forever and evermore, it will be frozen. Well, if we have to go raid Sancho, I'm not going to complain about that, but I want to start this journey. Pegleg, I get it. Yep, that's right. Why game no worky? Oh, there we go. There we go. Let's pop that to the front. There we go. We're back. Shouldn't have to do that too much. There's really only two things that cause you to have to reload like that. One of them is what was happening, which I'm sure you didn't even see. Ignore the screaming of my computer. Which was... Where were we? Up here. That I couldn't open these boxes like this. And the other one, sometimes, very rarely, we will get a phenomenon called Slippy Shippy. Where the ship just kind of starts going wild in the water, and we'll have to reset at that point too. It usually only happens after sleeping. Okay. I think I'm gonna buy a little bit more firewood, and then we're gonna grab some quests that are gonna pay me money. We're gonna go and start our voyage, and we're just gonna sail, and it's gonna be great. Got firewood? That's fishing hooks. Firewood? Anybody? Firewood. Thank you. I'll just throw this over here real quick. Thank you. Okay. We can go through firewood really, really fast. I doubt that I have enough, so I'm probably just going to end up eating raw fish. But the trade winds at the same time are going in the direction that we're going. So it shouldn't be like that long of a journey. Should be fine. I don't have enough room up here for my little box of firewood. Eek. Yeah, just sit in there. You're fine. Jade, thanks for the resub. Appreciate you. Boat game. In other words, you'd starve before using a keyboard? Yes. Well, so here's the plan. If I truly am starving, and that singular piece of bread is my only lifeline, I'm just gonna yuck the drying rack off of the floor and throw it off the side in order to get to that piece of bread. Beautiful. You'll love to see it. Oh. I guess something else I do also want to do. And I was foolish to sell that crate, because I could have carried it with me and put everything in it instead of just running around like this. I do want to buy something. Oh, I was going to buy oranges! Do they have oranges? I don't know. What are you selling? Goat cheese. I don't need goat cheese. Give me vegetables. You guys sell vegetables? Ah, beautiful. Beautiful. Alright. Yoink. Watch me just buy a million carrots and throw them on the floor. Viv! Thank you for the resub. Appreciate you. It's fine. It's fine. I have no space in my hands. Let me make some space. So we can carry more than one thing at once. I'm gonna need to start slicing these up and drying them. Okay. Real quick, we're just gonna throw these things on the floor. It's fine. We'll pick them up in a second. I'm just emptying my pockets. I can eat it whole. And I might, depending. Boy, I went the long way around. But food like that will spoil. So if I want to take more of it with me for longer, I need to chop it up. Yes, you are the man that I bought things from. It's so hard to pick up these tiny little things from the floor. Oh, look at this. Beautiful. All of my delicious vegetables, which will stop me from getting scurvy and malnutrition. Exactly! I made a mistake, Cheville. I should have kept the box. Because you can, in fact, store things in it. Okay. All you guys, on the table. Oh god, my sweet potato! Don't let me forget that he fell on the floor, or he's just gonna stay underneath the table and rot. My precious baby boy. Hey, man. You got any oranges? You do. How much are you... Fine. God. That was so expensive! 11 gold? Bro. I had 100 gold, and you're charging me 11 for a box of oranges? This box of oranges is gonna go so far, though. Alright, we got 24 oranges in there. It's great. Come here, Bonana. Get on the table with everybody else, except for the sweet potato. Alright. Morty! Did he actually come out? Hold on a second, let me check. Hi, Morty. Hey, buddy. So we need to take a look at all of the quests that we have. We're gonna go across the ocean. We're not gonna go to Happy Bay. We're gonna go to Gold Rock City. The only thing you have is mail? Bruh? Before I do this, let me change my currency. We're currently looking at my gold pieces, which is by far, like, the best thing that we have. We have $16 of the local currency. So, yeah, we're gonna want some more of that. Suddenly, taking mail for 331 seems pretty good. We'll take that. It's doing 36 days, which is... We're not even gonna come close to that, I hope. Pork. That's also doing 36 days. Sure. Eel. 22 days, but sure. That's all they want over there. Oh, God. They had so many packages, they had to start throwing them on the roof. Why is my, chip log just standing straight up back here? Chip logs are for measuring speed. We can do that once we get out into the water. Alright. I need to make my boat look oh so nice. Pork is kind of heavy. So I would like to have some of it back here and some of it at the front of the ship. Otherwise we'll start kind of going all willy-nilly if there's a storm. But a lot of the controls for the anchor, the mooring lines, like all of the forward sails and everything are all up there also. I don't want to put too much up here. I'll just chuck those up there, it's fine. So did anybody do anything fun over the weekend that I didn't get to hear about because I was on jury duty on Tuesday and Wednesday? I don't know why the judge, multiple times, was just like, you seem so excited to be a juror. Like, no. I really would rather not, actually. Please. And we couldn't bring any, like, we couldn't bring our laptops. So, when I first got called, there was like 40 of us. We all just went into a room and then just sat there for hours. Sat there. Nobody came to like talk to us, let us know, you know, what was going on. We just sat there in complete silence, just staring at the walls. I'm gonna throw these littler pieces down here on my luggage racks. On a very cool vacation. Well, it sounds like you had fun. Like a local vacation or like an exotic vacation? Alright, here's our last piece. I hope. Just some mail. You go below decks so you don't get moist. I'm getting thirsty. Which reminds me, I need to pick up my junk. You go here. Compass goes here. Fishing rod goes here. And knife, gimme, goes here. This is a man used to hearing nothing but misery from juror candidates. Like, I feel like that's what it must be. Because like I said, it was... Oh, is this not... Doesn't have anything in it. Hold on. Good. Cool. I think it was just the streamer voice, you know? Alright, so before we continue with that conversation, let's plan this out a little bit. Also, what are you again? Oh, you're pork. You're only like 3 pieces of pork, okay? So we're gonna like rotate you and just kind of see if I can I just want to let me just real quick. I'm just gonna haha. I'm trapped outside, but that's okay. We're just gonna kind of stick that back there. And if it comes off during the voyage, well, that's okay. I want it out of my way. So here we are. We're at Dragon Cliffs, this big, gigantic thing in the middle. The port is in between these 2 big islands in this blue part in the middle. So we want to come out north and then head due west. As per this map, which shows Dragon Cliffs in the bottom right, we would come out the top north and we would go due left to Gold Rock City. Same, essentially the same latitude. Have I gotten latitude and longitude backwards again? So north to south, it's essentially the same, so that's what we're gonna do, which means we are currently facing, because I can see my compass here, I don't have to actually take it out, although sometimes I will. We're currently facing southeast, which means we need to go behind us. So let's go! Let's begin our wonderful journey. Unmoor ourselves. Because this game doesn't have... I've talked about this before, because it doesn't have sculling oars or tugboats or any of the typical mechanisms you would use to, like, turn a boat around in port. I am just going to manually turn it around. Because even in ye olden days, you would have assistance turning out of port, so... Turn her around. So yeah, I think the judge was just hearing... We're gonna bonk the wall, and that's okay. I think the judge was just hearing my streamer voice. And being like, wow, you're so enthusiastic. And it's like, well, I don't know, you're just asking me questions and I'm just answering. I'm not really sure what the issue is here, you know? We're not actually touching. But I'm just gonna tap us a little bit more. Just to get us going. Come back! My ship's leaving without me. Alright. Here we go. What direction is the wind? Where's my telltale? Hey! Where's my telltale? Hold on. Oh no. Our voyage is over before it begins. I'm gonna stop over at the shipyard because my telltale is not attached to my ratlins. And I want that badly. Your telltale, that's what I keep looking up at. This thing that looks like a flag up there. It's telling me what direction the wind is blowing. And sometimes, usually at night, that's really hard to see. So, I need one that's like down here on the deck with me. We going slow, but we going. Ugh, I didn't want to have to go over to the shipyard. It's a pain to get in and out of there. The mountains with speedrun friends. Cool. So one of them was literally just like, yo, I have a house, you want to go there? And everybody was like, yup. That's fun. Here we go, we've caught the wind. But yeah, so I don't know. The judge was just like really excited that I was excited. But all that was happening was that she was asking me questions because they were trying to select jurors, right? So they had to ask, like, you know, what's your occupation? Are you married? Do you think that you would be a fair and impartial juror? Like, things like that, you know? And I'm just answering. Ooh, this is under a lot of tension. Alright, and again, we're gonna ram this a little bit because I don't have the tug on my nose to guide me into here, but... I also fall for your streamer voice. A little too far, my love. A little too far, my love. Tug me. Tug me. There we go. Almost there. There. Get in there, my dear. She's going. It doesn't matter that the sail is like this. Like, obviously that's not a super ideal position for your sails, but we are just trying to get in here. Whoops. I didn't jump far enough. Yeah, no, that... I feel like you have to know people well in order to think that that's a thing that you would like to do. Just, like, show up at a person's house because they said they had one, you know? Did you just push that boat with your body? I did. Because as I was saying earlier, we don't have tugboats or sculling oars or any of the things that would normally, in real life, help you do that. Ignore the fact that my ship just went flying. I need, please. I think... I don't have a mizzen mast, actually. Yeah, it says error. I would like a mainmast, Telltale, please. Well, do I want a foremast? Maybe we want a foremast. Yeah, sure. That's fine. Cool. Thank you, good sir. Thank you kindly. Goodbye. Oh, thank you so much for pointing my ship out of the dock. You are wonderful. So the only thing that I added was this. Now, at nighttime, I can stand next to it and actually still see what direction the wind is going, which is wonderful. And, conveniently, this is the direction we need to go. The wind is now against us. It always is when you're heading north out of Dragon Cliffs, so we just kind of deal with it. We will sail close-hauled and eventually get out of that gate that you can see up there. The one that looks like a Japanese gate. And it's gonna take a little bit because this is a difficult little stretch. The week before, the weather forecast was horrid and then completely turned around and we had an amazing week. Went for walks, played games, ate very fatty stuff. Big mood. We are moving, by the way. No, it doesn't look like it. Let me throw up the spanker also, actually. Just a little bit. That'll help get us going. I'm watching for the bow to line. I know there's a sandbar, like, right next to this little island up here. But we don't want to sail any closer to the wind. Because the wind's coming from the front, right? The front right. But that was two different meanings of right. Like, the front, comma, correct. The front right. And if we sail any closer to the wind, we'll just end up in irons, which means that the wind is directly in front of you. You can't go, right? Because it's blowing against you. I'm making chimkin pie! Delicious. I would love some chimkin pie. On the bright side, once we get out of this, like, this is going to be probably the hardest part of the journey, is just getting out of this gate. And if necessary, again, I can tug myself, so... using my massive biceps. I always manage to sail out of here right as it's getting dark. Which is very unfortunate. I'm gonna go into the wind just a second and hope that my momentum carries me around the sandbar, because you can see I'm losing the... No, there's the sandbar. Alright, so we're gonna be in irons and I'm gonna have to tug myself further. Because I'm pushing myself directly in irons right now. That's fine. It used to be, if you were a sailing ship individual in the Age of Sail, that there would be teeny tiny ships that would be helping you do this. Sometimes they would just have people who are rowing, you know? But with enough force, they would be able to move your ship like this. The dev, who, as I said before, is just like a solo dev. A single dude. I believe he's thinking about putting in sculling oars, which would fix the problem. Sculling oars are another way to get you out of a situation like that. It's a big oar that goes off the back of your ship, and then you move it in like a... It's simplified, I guess, to call it you move it in a figure 8, because you kind of don't, but it kind of works like a stand-in for a motor. I hongy a little bit. But hey, look at us go. Here we go. We're gonna end up in irons one more time, because we usually do. You can see, maybe, how close to dead on in the wind we are. I'm gonna use momentum, fling us this way. And that's almost gonna put us in irons, and then we're gonna proceed again a little bit to the left. I just want to get around the left side of this gate. The spanker is doing basically all of the work right now. Because we can't sail this close hauled with a jib like this. Love to see it getting dark, so I just really can't see how my sails are doing anymore. I like the idea of pushing your boat by hand a lot more, personally. It is efficient. That much is true. I cannot see my sails. It is so dark. Just focus on my jib on the water. We are moving, so that's what matters. I can hear my sails luffing, though. But as long as we're moving, I honestly don't care. And actually, we're moving at a pretty decent clip, considering how dead onto the wind we are. It's so dark! Can you see, like, anything on stream? You can, a little bit. It's meant to be super, super dark, by the way. Because that's what it's like on a boat, you know? But basically the only thing you can see is my cursor. So right here is the big pole that we're trying to avoid. And right here is my jib, as we're starting to go towards it. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do, actually. I'm gonna get lost on my own ship because it's so dang dark. Oh, I don't have my lantern! Oh, that's good. That's great. Oh, cool. Okay. Okay, oh, it's so dark. Give me... Where's my... Oh, yes. Thank you. We can see! That seems like a concerning sound. Are any of these boxes open? No. I don't want to open food. but I need food. I think I have another... Yes, good. Ah, we can see. We can see. Hey, you remember this emergency pork? I'm gonna eat some. Ah, wonderful. Alright. Because I need to go to sleep so we can actually see things. Ah. And almost assuredly, we're just gonna be stuck against this gate when I wake up, but that's fine. We're just gonna be like in irons right next to the gate. But more importantly, I just need to be able to see things. And you can't sleep, or you can't sleep very well if you're hungry or thirsty. And we will game over, in a sense, if we run out of water, like our water bar goes down to the bottom, or our sleep bar goes down to the bottom. The hunger bar, we actually have a second hidden bar behind it, where you're just like malnourished. And then if that gets to the bottom, we also die, in quotes. So yeah, we went, the judge was, I don't know, really excited to see how excited I was, I guess. And again, I wasn't really excited, I was just answering questions. But it was really obvious, a couple people who didn't want to be jurors. Oh god, what is that noise? Hello? Are you telling me we're just banged up against a building? That's fine. Whatever. That's fine. I'm stuckies. Go to bed. The judge for one person was like, so do you think you could be like a fair and honest juror? And that person just straight up was like, nah. Ignore the sounds of my ship. I'm sure everything's fine. Everything's just fine. I'm sure it's not just grinding horribly against a wall. It's good. But one person, yeah, she literally just said, like, I am a Christian. Whoopsie. So I don't believe that it's my place to judge anyone. How did we end up over here? Okay, well, we can work with this. I don't believe it's my place to judge anyone. So I don't think, like, I would just have no opinion about whatever this person did. And it's, the judge said like 15 times. She was like, you do understand that we're not asking you to judge a person. We're asking you to judge facts. And she just kept, oh, this space isn't big enough. She just kept being like, yeah, well, I know, but I feel like I just wouldn't, you know, I just wouldn't be objective no matter what. And she just, like, wouldn't back down from that stance. And it's like, come on, I know you just don't want to do jury duty. You know? Come up with something more believable. Where's my ladder? Oh, I'm stuck in the water. Help me. Okay, good. Good, good. We do be going a little bit. Okay, so now what's happening is I need to get rid of my spanker. The force being exerted on the back of the boat is stronger than the force being exerted on the front of the boat, which was spinning me in a direction I didn't want to go. But it's sunrise! We can see! Isn't this exciting? I told you that getting out of this gate was going to be like the hardest part of the voyage. We'll kick up and go here in a little bit. We are moving. Just doesn't look like it. I am in favor of crime, Your Honor. I mean, that's very true. rather a judgeless Christian than a judgy one. And another guy, I mean, I guess credit to him. One of the questions that we had to answer when they were deciding like who was going to be a juror was, would you weigh the testimony of a police officer more or less favorably because they're a police officer? And that wasn't like a essay question. It was just a yes or no. Like, would you treat their testimony differently? And one guy just straight up said, like, yeah, I don't trust anything a police officer says. And it's like, you know what, man? Good for you. Good for you for just being out there, you know? Alright, now that we want to spin hard in this direction, we can drop the spanker. Because it is filling with wind like that, it'll push. You can see it's pushing the bow of the ship to the right. Because the pressure exerted on the back is going toward the left. And oh, this should get us out of here. It took us an entire day to go from the dock to out of port. But it ended up being a criminal trial, which we didn't know that before we got selected as jurors. And, you know, obviously, a lot of people got dismissed from being jurors for whatever reasons the judge or the attorneys decided. So, like, they could get rid of some people for cause, which they did with one woman. She was a short little Vietnamese woman who's just terrified. How are we heading? Upwind again? I guess it kind of checks out. That's fine. She was like terrified because she didn't speak very much English. And so she was up being evaluated for being a juror. And she's like, I don't know what's happening. I felt kind of bad for her. But they let her go because, you know, her non-fluency was going to be a factor in understanding, right? So, no shame on her, just she wasn't the right fit. Better. Alright, we're getting better. We're not quite ready for the squares just yet, but I will get them prepared in the correct configuration. Ignore the fact that they sound like when you squeeze a balloon. So yeah, I got picked. I was juror number 2. Which meant that I got picked fairly early. And it ended up being a criminal case where right on a street that's like 5 minutes from my house, a person was driving. So imagine there's like this SUV, right? Going straight down a 4-lane road. Someone pulls up on their right and is driving like in tandem with them, right? But really close. And then all of a sudden from the left, all the way across, because you know, the SUV is in the second lane from right, the other car next to them is in the rightmost lane. All the way from the left, another car, a black car, comes over diagonally and just wedges this SUV so that, you know, the black car is in front, this other car is to his right. He can't get out, right? He's pinned between two vehicles. Nobody hit each other. They just kind of did like a pincer move around him. And essentially, somebody got out of their vehicle. Not clear who got out first. A fight broke out. And in the end, the SUV's windshield was shattered, and the guy driving it had like a big gash down his face, which he alleged was from the girl who attacked him, like smashing his glasses onto his face. And so our job was to rule or I guess, on 2 counts, both of them malicious destruction of property. Basically, is he owed money for his windshield and his glasses? Easy enough, right? And then the details just got, like, more and more confusing. Nobody could tell who got out of which vehicle first. There were, like, 3 women and 2 men, aside from the guy whose windshield got broken. And they were all just in a fight. It's like, I don't know what's happening. And it was baffling in the sense that the prosecution, the witnesses that she chose just made 0 sense. She should have chosen, like, you know, the person driving the vehicle that cut across and cut that guy off. Or the police officer who came out and took statements from everybody. But no, she didn't choose any of those people. She chose the police officer who came out an hour later to take pictures. To her credit, she did choose an eyewitness who had, like, called the police and had a video recording. And that was cool. What is luffing back here? But I don't know, it was baffling how little support she provided for her case. Meanwhile, somehow, like, and I say this with love, I genuinely believe that the defense attorney, this was her first day in court. Let's schwang this spanker over here. Catch some wind. Because we are going straight downwind. Oh, this is going to be great. And as you can see, we're now going essentially straight west. We can tweak it just a little bit. Wait, so when was the murder? There was no murder. Except for a poor windshield. And then we gotta get this guy going. Which way do you want to sit, buddy? Because to be quite honest, I don't care which way you sit, as long as you sit in a direction. Okay. That's the way you want to be? Getting these stacels to go straight downwind is just like a nightmare. Or I'm sorry, these jib sails. We're so very slightly off center. Fine, go the other side. Criminal destruction of windshield and spectacles. So all we had to prove, basically, or rather, all we had to judge on was... So malicious destruction of property is... Was the property destroyed? Yes. That much was clear. Was it destroyed on purpose? Was it destroyed knowing that it was wrong to do so? And did the prosecution prove beyond a reasonable doubt all of those elements? And we had to rule that, you know, separately for each charge. One for the windshield, one for the glasses. And in the end... Whoopsie. In the end, we determined, no. The defense... We all thought, yes, the defendant did that. We thought that she broke his windshield and that she broke his glasses. And that it was her and not any of her other friends who were also participating in this tiff. But the defense, or I'm sorry, the prosecution did not in any way prove beyond a reasonable doubt that it was her who did it and that she did it on purpose. So we had to say not guilty because the burden of proof is on the prosecution, you know? We had no reason... She provided no concrete evidence that it was her who did those things. And most importantly, that she did them on purpose, knowing it was wrong, with the intent to break them. On purpose, but didn't know it was wrong. Well, that was a question, because... You know, if she's in a fight with this guy, because a whole bunch of people got out of their cars all at once. Let's just assume that, you know, she was actually in a fight with this guy. He was like, he said himself, like, I'm a big 300-pound dude. If I wanted to hurt her, I could. That's literally what he said. To his credit or not, that's up to you to decide. But, if you were in an altercation with a person who was 300 pounds and you thought that they were going to hurt you, you may very well intentionally try to break their glasses, but you might not think that it's wrong, right? Because you're in a scary situation, you're trying to defend yourself. So, like... Yeah, you had to judge someone on self-defense, and we had to judge when it all came down to, did the prosecution prove beyond a reasonable doubt that it was her who did it? And we determined no. It was likely her who did it, but not necessarily. We saw no evidence to indicate that it wasn't one of her friends. And we saw no evidence to indicate that it was her. Because, yeah, there was a video, but you couldn't see her face. You couldn't see any defining features about her. So, like, it could have been anybody. And her friend, this is such a weird detail to me. So she was in the vehicle that swiped across the road. The diagonal black vehicle. Her friend was driving. Oh, and by the way, everybody was drunk for this. The guy whose windshield got broken, the defendant, everybody was drunk. So that, you know, further complicates things. But she was in the vehicle that swiped across, right? I love the literal sweeping, right? This is so, like, calming. It's just something to do when I'm, like, going straight downwind and I don't really have to monitor anything. So she was in the vehicle that came diagonally across. Her friend was driving, and she was drunk. But weirdly, when the windshield was broken, which... There are wildly varying accounts about when that was in the grand scope of this entire series of events. Her friend, who was driving, offered to pay the guy for the damages. And it's like... that... If you didn't do it, that's really weird, right? Like, be real here. How many of you, if your friend destroyed somebody's windshield, you would step forward and be like, oh yeah, sorry man, I'll just pay you like $1,000 for that. My bad. Or my friend's bad. You know, it's just like, it's weird. It's weird. And even the defendant acknowledged that it wasn't, or I'm sorry, even the victim acknowledged that it wasn't the defendant who offered to pay, it was her friend. So are they all up on drunk driving charges? So the driver and the defendant both got charged with operating while under the influence. The guy whose windshield got broken, he did a breathalyzer and then was allowed to leave. So he did have alcohol in his system, but it was under the legal limit, so he was allowed to leave. How's the wind? Great, still good. And our heading is due west. You'll love to see it. We want to go like a little bit to the left of west. That's going to change throughout the voyage. We can't just sail in a straight line. But we, you can see Gold Rock City is a little bit to the south. Like the far south of 31 flat. And Dragon Cliffs is closer to the middle. So we want to go just a little bit south. It's like west, 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 southwest, basically. It really sounds like she did it. I'm pretty sure she did it. So it all just came down to the legal standard of, did the prosecution prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she did it? And no, they didn't. Because they couldn't prove that it was her in the video. They couldn't prove any of the items on the scene that could have been used to break the windshield were hers. They couldn't prove through anybody else's testimony that she was the one fighting him. You know. And also, was it malicious? Exactly. We got basically all of us within 2 to 3 minutes of getting into the jury room were like, not guilty on the windshield. We have no idea how that windshield was broken because she was tiny. She's like me. And that windshield was broken like straight from the center. So she would have had to be like up on the hood, bashing it with something. And it's like, okay, there were a couple of shards of glass on the ground that the prosecution claimed was an entire liquor bottle. And it's like, where's the rest of the bottle? 3 shards of glass does not a gigantic Patron bottle make. So there was very little evidence of anything she could have been hitting the windshield with. And if we don't even know that it was her, how do we know that she was doing it maliciously? And the testimonies were so inconsistent about, like... He said at first that she and her group of friends ran toward him. Meanwhile, by the way, he got out of his car. If you are trapped between 2 cars and people are charging at you, why would you not stay in your car and try to back up? Right? So apparently he got out of his car. And according to him, they were charging at him. And according to her, he was charging at them, right? So it was different sides of the story. And they got into a fight. One person said that she got up on the hood and then he pulled her down. Another person said she was swinging a purse around. Like, nobody's testimony was consistent about what was happening. So we really couldn't find any evidence sufficient to tell us beyond a reasonable doubt that she destroyed his windshield. So that one was easy. The glasses were harder because we basically had no doubt that she did come up to him and in some way fight him such that his glasses broke. And they ended up being run over by a car, actually. The glasses. They got completely smooshed. Because on the one hand, can you argue that it was malicious if she was defending herself? On the other hand, if she started the fight, well, was she really even defending herself at that point? Because she started it, you know? And then there was also the question of, like, okay, even if she was defending herself, even if it was malicious, like, she thought to herself, like, I am gonna mess this guy up. To what extent do you have to think, like, I am gonna mess up this guy's glasses? You know? Were any of them vampires asking the real questions? Oh, I'm supposed to be, where's my sweet potato? Come here, buddy. Oh, it's rotten! I told you I was gonna leave it underneath the table until it was rotten. Jesus! Just blasted a hole in my ship with a sweet potato. Oh, I wanted to chop it up. That's so sad. Okay, this is just like a regular banana. It sounds so dramatic. Anytime that I do anything. Alright. Give me my little cuke slices. I'm gonna just chuck these over here to dry. I can make soup with them later. So yeah, it came down to we were pretty sure she did it, but the prosecution did not provide sufficient evidence for us not to have reasonable doubt. We felt that our doubts that we still had were reasonable, therefore, because of the presumption of innocence, she was not guilty. If she was drunk, you can't really blame her. But, I mean, being drunk was her choice, wasn't it? If you are a drunk driver who gets a DUI, like, that's your responsibility, right? I am just, like, devastating these vegetables. Do you hear this giant conk every time I slice? I feel like that's new. Ah, my carrot! And my cukes! Oh, they're sliding! Okay, well. Maybe let's put those a little closer to the middle. This will help them dry so that they are preserved over my long voyage. So yeah, I don't know. It was a mess. I feel, honestly, like the actual guy, he came as a witness to his own case, you know. I feel like he lied, actually. Because he was just going through, you know, answering the attorney's questions, which, you know, if she had been any kind of good attorney, and she seemed like she was, they would have gone over the questions ahead of time, and the attorney will have had some basic concept of what he was gonna say. That's how you do that when you're an attorney. Oh boy, I'm gonna destroy my ship every time I do this. And the jury is allowed to ask questions to any of the witnesses and stuff like that. So basically all of us submitted questions such as, essentially, bro, why did you get out of your vehicle? Because if people are coming to fight you and threaten you, most people's response would not be to leap out and get ready to duke it out with them, you know? You were inside a presumably safe vehicle. And his answer kept, like, changing. We are, like, so downwind. This is glorious. I don't have any more islands in front of me, right? Nah, just this, which is the cove. We have just passed... Where is my map? We have just passed Dead Cove. So we are now officially out of the Emerald Archipelago. And we are headed... we're still technically in 5. We're going to be heading over to 4. And we need to make it to -4. So we've still got quite a ways to go. Can you blame him? But yeah, so his rationale just kept being like, oh, you know, I'm gonna keep one of these carrots and one of these cucumbers whole to make soup. But I will slice up the banana. I can't get over that sound. And his answer kept changing. So at first he was like, well, you know, like, aren't you gonna want to defend yourself? And then we were basically like, bro, you were safer in the car. And then he was like, oh, well, I was getting out to check for damages. And it's like, yeah, okay, sure. But wouldn't you have felt safer in the car? Well, exactly, Viv. That's exactly the thing. Like, he said, yo, I'm 300 pounds. If I wanted to hurt her, I could have, but I didn't. But that didn't matter. Like, once you said I wanted to hurt her, if I wanted to hurt her, I could. That's not the look that you want, right? Like, no matter how you meant it, that's not the look that you want. Okay, that's enough chopping, I think. I don't have any... I'm getting kind of hungry. I'm just gonna finish up the pork chops that are in here to get that crate out of the way. And then we can go fishing for our food for a little while. But yeah, so he kept changing his answer about why he got out of the car. And then finally, after he had already been testifying and told his entire story for like, you know, an hour plus, the question came back around again. Why did you get out of your vehicle? And his answer suddenly was, well, actually, I was in a vehicle before that was robbed at gunpoint and they shot me up. And I vowed to myself that I would never be trapped in a vehicle again when people are presumably dangerous. And it's like, okay, whoa. That seems like something that you maybe should have started with an hour ago. Like, you know, something really important that maybe could have underscored everything else that you were saying. Instead of just being like, oh, by the way. And so I think, honestly, that he lied. And he either made that up or altered it to more appropriately suit the situation. And his attorney was just like, oh no. Because it wasn't something that they had prepared, right? It felt just so unusual for him to just, like, throw that out all of a sudden. Yeah, I mean, you're right, Cheville. You do have to kind of be a little bit sympathetic, because regardless of who started it, just bad ideas all around. Everybody got beaten up. Like, there were no winners here, you know? But at the same time, also, we had pictures of the defendant immediately after this altercation, because the police came, they arrested her, and took pictures of her as soon as she got back to the station. Her defense attorney, who, if you recall, I said I thought this was pretty much her first day. Like, literally, I think this was her very first case ever. She kept saying, like, you know, he gave her a black eye and things like that. You look at those pictures, maybe her eyes were puffy from crying. There was certainly no black eye. So it's like, you know, what's going on here? Alright, we are straight at 30. This is a quadrant, by the way. I'll show you how to use it in a second. Right now, I need to figure out where the heck I am, because it's dark again. I need to have a lantern in my hand. Okay, here's my... If I face west, I'll be facing toward the front of the ship. Okay. Okay. I need to bring a lantern up from... Oh no, this has a lantern. Great. Cool. We've got lanterns. When were the photos taken? Black eyes can take a day to come in. Well, so that's an important point. It was taken immediately afterward. And we did acknowledge that there was some puffiness on her face. But according to the guy in the SUV, she attacked him, and one of his arms was, he just had surgery, and you could see in the pictures, that he did have, like, surgical wrap on his right arm. And he said, you know, my right arm hurt. She was coming at me. I shoved her with my left arm. I just shoved her to get her away. The defendant, on the other hand, of course, had a very different story, which was he charged at me, punched me in the face. I fell back in between the cars, tried to brace myself on the window. He grabbed me by my hair, pulled me back up, and punched me 2 more times in the face. Okay, well, his hand is obviously compromised. How was he doing all the hair grabbing and punching? But okay, whatever. Also, if he punched you in the face 3 times, like, your hair isn't even messed up. You know? Oh god, everybody lying in here? I can't? Exactly. So that's why I say, like, we think that she did it. But we didn't have enough evidence to say beyond a reasonable doubt that she did both of those things maliciously. Because, as you can see, there are many reasonable doubts about what happened. So... I'm gonna take this with me. Whoopsie, wrong button. That way you all can actually see what's happening. So, this is a quadrant. If I turn it to the side... There, excuse me. Bar that's telling me that I'm hungry. Or sleepy. Thank you. Here. This is a quadrant. So, this is a real tool. It's not an in-game tool. What actually happened to improvised mosh pit? Basically. So yeah. This quadrant is a real tool. It can tell us our, again, it's latitude, I believe. The horizontal ones. In real life, you would use a quadrant. I mean, you can use a quadrant on basically any star, as long as you already know ahead of time what the correction is. But for most people, they're going to be using a quadrant with the North Star. In this game, the North Star is this one. So you line up the ridge at the center of the quadrant with the star, and then you flip it sideways, and you can see that this thing on the bottom is hanging just a little bit to the right of 30. So essentially 31 is what we're looking at. And that tells us over here, you can see Dragon Cliffs. We are in the 31 bracket going west. So that's correct. We're staying appropriately to the west. We're not too high or too low, such that we're going off course. That is what we have learned. Now I am in need of sleep. So I'm gonna briefly go outside. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, I fell off my boat. I fell off my boat. Boat, come back. I can't see anything. Am I on my boat? I'm on my boat, right? Help! Okay, good. I'm on my boat. God, it's dark. Great, okay, here we go. Sleepy time. We sleeping. Hey Draco, nice to see ya. How you doing? So yeah, it was just extremely confusing. And the fact that we thought that she did it in the end didn't matter because we just didn't have the evidence to support it. Their bodies were never found. So that was that whole situation. Also, like, the pictures taken by the police officer were just garbage. Oh god. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, I can't see. Oh, I can't see. It's fine, actually. Turns out it's probably actually fine. Okay, okay. First thing to go is the spanker. I am taking on water. Oh. Oh, we got a case of Slippy Shippy. Nobody wants Slippy Shippy. Oh god, though. Why are we still taking on water? Let's ease up a little bit here. I want Slippy Shippy. Alright, since it's the middle of the night and I cannot see what's going on, which again, that's on a ship that's not uncommon. We're just gonna furl sail and wait until the morrow. That is the safest thing to do. Especially because we were taking on water and I couldn't see why. That was what woke me up, actually. It wasn't because I was rested, it was because you automatically wake up if your ship takes on water. Because it hits your hammock. Alright. Now it still says there's water under here. That's just a visual glitch. It's fine. You lost your lantern, didn't you? Alright, now we can keep sleeping. And it'll be fine. Unless I have a hole in my ship. Which I suppose is possible. Because that is a thing now. They added, like, ship damage. What is all this banging that I'm hearing? Is it the sound of my ship slowly coming apart? I don't know, I'm sleeping peacefully. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. You love to see it. It's daytime! Where are we going? Alright, we turned pretty hard to the southwest, so we're gonna need to fix that up. We'll start with our beloved jib up here. Don't want to hit the spanker yet, or that's gonna spin us a little bit too far. Looks like we've still got Slippy Shippy. Which is when the ship just turns like way too fast. You can't really see it with all my sails down like this, but we will start just like flinging around. You'll see here in a second. Just throwing down these fore and main should be enough to show it. Sleep was almost as stressful as real life. Like, look at how much my... Against the horizon, it's hard to tell how much we're slipping around, but... I mean, just look at my wheel, right? Yes, and we are listing a little bit to starboard, which we have no reason to be because we're straight downwind. So we're a little bit wonky. That's okay. I do want to stay... We're gonna go over and see Sancho. But I do want to stay just until noon. Not noon like my time, but noon in-game. Because that will allow us to use some of our other tools. This is a sun compass, which I can show you how to use. This is a chronometer, which keeps track of essentially GMT. It's the in-game equivalent of GMT. We need to know when, like, true noon is, and that's... All of the instruments in the game are based on that noon, which is Astron noon. And this is called a chronometer. This does not exist in real life. This is just for this game. It's basically a more convenient method of doing things. It combines the functionality of the sun compass and the chronometer into a single tool. Hey, where did my chip log go? Oh, here it is. Has Slippy Shippy fixed itself? It's alright. But, like, look at how fast we can turn there. Like, that is not... that is not how a ship operates. And yeah, we are listing pretty heavily. It's gonna be a little bit difficult to stay on course here, but we don't also really need to worry about it. We have a lot of westward journey to take and a lot of time to correct, so... Yes, I do have to close the game to fix it. It's not being super detrimental right now, and we are about to go over to Sancho, so I'm not really going to worry about it. I'm just going to wait till noon to take our coordinates here. But I'll throw down the squares. Try to get us going a little bit here because I want... The spanker might cause us to really slippy shippy, but whatever. You know what? Let's just do it. Yeah, it was nice to see you. Alright. We're gonna give ourselves just a second to get up to speed because we're going essentially straight downwind. If we line ourselves up with this compared to the rest of the ship, you know, you can see the wind is blowing essentially like this. We could trim the sails a little bit to improve our speed, but it's really not that big of a deal. So chip log, this is a real tool also. You go here and you throw it off the ship. And after a minute, it'll catch in the water. We're literally going too fast for it to even catch in the water. Let me go down below. The line is only so long, and that's like for a reason, so. Here. There we go. So it drags in the water behind you, right? And it pulls this lever, and we'll show you how fast you're going. Wow. We really, whoopsie. We really plowed there to have that much water come into the ship. It's just because we're going really fast, right? And we're going up and down these waves. We're going about 10 knots. Which is, yeah, that's quite fast. That's very good for a square-rigged brig. How is our noontime? Where is the sun? Okay. Will you stream the rest of your journey? I will! Oh god. What was that? Alright, we probably don't need the tops up anymore. Part of what's causing us to list is the spanker. You'll see us flatten out here in a second. But part of it is also just slippy shippy. But yeah, I would like to actually keep streaming Sailwind. I just haven't really had a lot of opportunity. Oh, look at how big those sails are. Nice and full. Alright, so. This sun compass, it's maybe difficult to describe without being able to point at things. On the center of the compass, there's this big line in the middle that says like 20, 30, 40, 50, right? Coming straight down from where it says north. And a little bit to the right of that is the shadow from this big needle that's sticking out. And you can see that the gray part that is the shadow of the tip of the needle is gradually moving toward the center. When that shadow crosses over the center, that means it is exactly noon. And at exactly noon, we go and we check the chronometer, which is that clock that I have positioned by my, like underneath my poop deck. And I will explain what we're looking for at that moment. But for now, we just need to wait until exactly this shadow crosses over the center line. And you can also see that it's crossing right by 30. It's crossing at 31. Which is showing us our latitude. So it's doing more than one thing at once. Okay. We have crossed time at the tone. 11:41-ish. Okay, so I'm sorry, I have to do math now. Let me do math. Every 4 minutes. Okay, hold on. How far is 11:41 until noon? It's 19 minutes, right? So that was 41, right? Or 42, essentially. So every 4 minutes is 1 degree of longitude. You can see we started in Dragon Cliffs at the very right side of 5. If we go backwards from noon to 11:42, say, then that's going to be approximately 5-ish, 4 to 5 chunks of 4 minutes, right? Because if you assume it was 11:40, it would be 20 minutes. And if you assume it was 11:45, it would be 15 minutes. Or 16 minutes would be the chunk of 4. So essentially what it's saying is if every chunk of 4 minutes is 1 degree of longitude, then yes, exactly, Draco, we're at about 4.5 or 4.75 degrees of longitude, which means we have gone west. We are moving from 5 to 4 to 3 toward Gold Rock City. And that's how we take our longitude measurement. And that's real. Like, that's how it works in real life. You use a sun compass and a chronometer to measure your longitude. If I wanted to use the chrono compass, which is not a real tool, I don't technically have to do it at noon, it's just most accurate at noon. This one is very difficult to describe. So you see how it says north at the bottom. I'm currently pointing it south because it is a compass. And gradually, very slowly moving to the left is 0. When 0 crosses over where it says north, that's exactly noon. So you can see we're a little bit past it, which we are. If you follow the line from 0 up toward the center, you can see there's a horizontal shadow, and to the left of it, very, very slightly, the shadow of this, you can see this pointed thing that's sticking up from it. It's barely visible next to the 0, because it's only a smidge to the side. If I line up the horizontal line with the shadow pointing down from the vertical line so that they're touching, that will show me where on the longitude between 0 and 5, the next tick over, we are. You can see it is approximately 4. And you can also see from the arrow up at the top that it's showing us we're at approximately 31 latitude. So basically you take measurements at the same time, and that's just a fake tool for the sake of the game. But yes, it's to measure where you are, and it takes practice to learn how to use it correctly. But we are heading a little bit too north for my tastes, but we're gonna head over to Sancho. So, we can keep sailing, whatever. No, get out. Let's look at our beautiful ship. So yeah, that's real navigation. Sadly, we don't have a sextant, although I could teach you how to use a sextant if you would like. Maybe we can do that some other time. In the meantime, let me see. I'm gonna turn that off. But thanks for hanging out, everybody. Thanks for just, like, listening to me ramble. Because, you know, I like sailboats, but that's not necessarily everybody's thing. Sancho Panda. Does he have VT at the end? No. It's just Sancho Panda. So we're going to go over to Sancho because he is currently doing his Bits for Bites marathon, which raises money for a hunger charity. He, I think, is still playing... Oh, he's playing Abzu. For a little while longer. Afterwards, in probably 15 minutes or so, he and I are he's gonna be showing one of our runs together. He'll be on commentary for one of my Last Guardian Snuggle % runs. So... look forward to that. Oh, I don't know. My captions are still showing all of the stuff. Whatever. So say hi to Sancho when you get over there. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. I will not be here next Tuesday. I have a bunch of stuff to do. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to figure out a day to make up that stream. So we will see. But thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for indulging my boat fascination. Say hi to Sancho when you go over there, and I will see you later. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye!